In today's fast-paced and ever-changing landscape, the ability to adapt and evolve is crucial for long-term success. The concept of a business pivot has gained significant attention in recent years as organizations strive to stay relevant and competitive. Have you reached a pivot point? Stay tuned for tonight's show.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Hey, and welcome to tonight's show. I'm Natalie, your host, and my fabulous co-host, the coach for business, Miss Shanna Mavis.
Hey.
I just was going to start talking to you like normal. And I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, right. Welcome to tonight's show. It's going to be a good one. I was thinking about pivoting.
Yes, and I was thinking, okay, maybe it's time for me to pivot. Maybe I need not just to have some lines or something prepared for these shows, but maybe I need some sort of catchphrase. So if anyone out there has any catchphrases for me, let's do this. But yeah, I think it's interesting. This is not one of those topics that we've been covering in the past where business owners are asking this. This is something that really came to light because of this show for us. And we're looking at it saying, okay, we know we've got something that we feel like business owners really need. We want to answer those questions. We want to help them better their businesses. Maybe it's time for us to shift our focus or pivot from what we're doing in order to reach a wider audience, in order to, I guess, accomplish what we've set out to accomplish. So I love that we get the chance to talk about this with us. Let's do this. Okay, was that good, Denise? Okay, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to practice. I have a line to practice now, Natalie. Let's do this. Denise O'Malley, I love it. But yeah, it's making sure that when it's time, when you're looking and you're trying something, you're doing things the way that you feel like they need to be done. There are times that whether circumstances outside of your control, or you're just looking and saying, I'm not achieving what I'm trying to do, then maybe it's time for you to pivot. Maybe it's time for you to shift that and let's look at doing something totally different.
Right. which isn't always easy, right? I mean, you look at we're growing or dying, right? So they're going to pivot and change to grow, reinvent yourself, go next level, or you're not, right? And I think that it's just part of the natural evolution of things. We have to continuously do that. So it's important.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this with our guests. We've got, and well, I guess let's talk about the pivot that's happening with the show. Super excited about what we're doing now. We really started thinking about who we're trying to serve. And while it's great to have experts coming in here and we can geek out about business, and that's what we do, we walk away and we're super excited. But if no one is really feeling it, then who are we helping? So our opportunity to pivot here, we looked at this and said, okay, if we want to serve business owners, let's bring them in. And let's invite coaches and experts into the audience instead of expecting business owners to come into the audience and listen. Why don't you actively participate? Tell us what some of your challenges are, and let's get those experts with the heart to serve to come in and ask you questions that maybe you haven't thought of, give you some practical advice. If you're trying to get to revenue faster, they're going to, from their perspective, give you different steps, tips, and tricks that you'll be able to employ in your business to help you grow it, to help you achieve those goals, because you started this business for a reason. We want to make sure that we can support you in that. So any business owner out there listening, if you're thinking about starting a business or you've already started one, but you're not sure how to level up, not sure where to go from here, then, we'll make sure that link is up there where you can actually just fill out the form and we can bring you on. It costs you nothing but your time and maybe a little bit of vulnerability, because it's
exactly. While we're live.
yeah, we're live. But yeah, it's just like that's the same thing for us. We've talked about struggles that we've had in our businesses, and that's really what we're putting out there, so that other people can come in and say to you, "Hey, try this," and that you're not alone, and just that support that we feel like this new format is going to provide. I'm so excited for the business owners that are going to benefit from this.
Me too. And I love just the community that will build around that as the experts come and give their feedback and the experience that they've had. So hopefully, more coaches are showing up while we're live and building that community, helping that person. And we're just growing and making a difference together. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be different, but hey, that's what pivoting is.
It really is. Yeah. That's the nature of it. We got to change direction. But yeah, and there are some things, I guess, I think about a lot of the business owners and new business owners. They're so hard on themselves. And a lot of it is because you really don't know what to do, or you've thought of everything, or YouTube University is not working for you. Then, come on in. Let's talk about this live. Natalie and I will protect you. We will make sure that you're in this safe space where you can just talk about that. If you don't know, you don't know. And there's no harm in that. And I think that's what's going to be great for business owners to see. So, yeah. Yeah,
and their story could help somebody else too. So.
True that. Let's do this. Oh, true that. No, for real. I do think about that, because if I'm a business owner, like I've only been coaching for a couple of years now, right? There are so many coaches that I've had the experience. The ones that we've had on the show, it's been amazing. Listening to them, because they are where I was. I told Angie Giltner that was on here last week. I sent her this lengthy email. I know that she was like, I'm never coming on that show again, because I'm going to get, this book that I need to read the next day. But I was like, I literally felt like you were strumming my pain with your fingers, right? I sat there, and because she had worked so hard and was just working herself to the bone and didn't have anything to show for it a year later. And so when I listened to her, and I was like, it was just so impactful having, hearing that, but seeing the other side of it. There's hope, because I know I've got something good. So yeah, I love that thought process, Natalie, where it's your story will inevitably help someone else.
Mm-hmm. And we have to go through those things to learn, right?
Yeah, we do.
That's part of it. That's all the juice, really, though. You don't feel that way at the time, but that really is all the juice.
Well, in line with our new format, I don't want to take up too much of our time while we talk about ourselves. I want to go ahead and talk about our first guest for the night. So the first half of the show, we're still going to be bringing you an expert. And this expert is a little bit different. She is going to be amazing. You're going to love her. But we started that segment, Just Good Business. I think it was last season. We wanted to focus on businesses that are doing something outside of themselves. Yes, it's a business, and they have to, answer to boards. They have to take the steps to build it. They have to pivot sometimes. But these are businesses that have a greater purpose, that they're serving a need. And it's not about making money. It's about serving people. And so Literacy Achieves was one of the businesses that we featured. And I want to play the video that we had for the Just Good Business segment last season that introduced them.
Before I came here, I didn't speak English. I stayed at home. First time, I really scared because I couldn't speak English. What can I do? What can I say? A friend told me about VMLC. In December 2012, I started VMLC. After that, my English became good. All my teachers is nice.
Excellent.
Right now, I can't find any job online. I can pay my bills online. I know how to use a computer right now. Before, when I click one place, just is that one is gone. How to find where is go? Just that's very, very difficult. Right now, it's not difficult because I learned from here.
That always touches my heart when I see that, and it was astounding. I know that that's their old branding. It was when it was Vickery Meadows Learning Center, but to think about coming somewhere and not knowing how to speak the language, how do you navigate that? And so for them, you know, when I saw that, I was just like, this is amazing that they're helping people, because from the beginning of the story to the end, it was just this transformation in this guy. And so, yeah, let's talk about Dionne and bring her on, Natalie.
Yes, I'm super excited because obviously, you know, there's a lot of this impacts people financially so much. And to be honest, until then, I had never looked at it from this perspective before. It was super eye-opening, and it just really touches my heart. Look, I'm getting emotional. It really touches my heart what they're doing. I love it so much, and to think exactly how brave these people are to come here and not speak in English and start this whole new life, and they're just going for it, right? That's weird. Let's do it. So I'm very inspired for it. So we have the CEO, Dionne Kirby here of Literary Achieves, which is a nonprofit organization. They're dedicated to empowering immigrant and refugee families through award-winning adult English literacy and early childhood education programs. This woman, let me tell you, I was exhausted reading her bio. I was seriously like, I don't know. I want to say, how old are you? How have you accomplished all this? She has over 20 years in leadership experience. She has her master's degree in humanities. She's getting her PhD in leadership, global leadership and change right now. She just completed the National African American Leadership Program. I mean, she is on it. So yeah. Dionne Kirby, CEO of Literacy Achieves, is joining us tonight. Dionne.
Dionne.
Good evening, ladies. Thank you so much. The bio. Oh my goodness. It's a whole experience when someone asks you for a bio, because you got to sit down and think through all the things. And then you have a whole different experience when someone reads it like, really? Okay.
I just kept thinking, how did she do all this?
Yeah.
How do you have to be very organized? I mean, you're a CEO of a company, right?
Dionne.
Yeah.
You know, we have all the things. I'm really excited to be joining you all. We're talking about pivoting, and I appreciate what you all have shared so far. There's so many more tools to help us be organized, right? I've got to tell you, my favorite thing right now is FocusMate. If you don't know FocusMate, you go on, you create an account. It's free initially, right? Like everything.
Yeah.
But just like we're on right now, you have a goal, you want to complete an application, or you want to submit this, whatever you want to, you work on whatever it is you'd like to work on. You sign up for whatever time you like. They pair you with someone else around the world, and you get on, you say, hi, what are you working on today? I'm working on this, and vice versa. And you just sit there and you work in a virtual environment. It's amazing. I love it. So that's one of the ways to get things done and stay organized.
Interesting. Wow.
There we go. There's a plug for FocusMate. Maybe they can help y'all in sponsorship world. I don't know. That wasn't planned.
I mean, I know maybe we should think about those things, Dionne, but we really want to help business owners. And everyone, anyone that's watching, we want to help. And this is something I was just talking to Natalie about that I struggle with. It's like, well, I can focus on things, but I'm focused on other people's stuff. I need to spend a dedicated amount of time focused on growing my business. But yeah, so I love that you brought that up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this promo that you found, thank you also for focusing on Literacy Achieves, for featuring us in the Better Your Business segment. That's Just Good Business, your Just Good Business segment. Yes. That's huge. You dug really deep and found that video. I have not seen that video. Now, I know a couple of people in the video, but I hadn't seen that. But awesome. I mean, kudos for just creating us a splice, because I know how difficult it is to get a good video clip that captures everything. So you did an amazing job. To me, the sign of a good video, especially for us, is if it makes you cry. So Natalie, thank you for confirming that we passed the test on that. Good job, Shanna. So, And that's really our essence. It is creating the connection. That volunteer teacher and that student, they're connected forever. I go to Target or whatever, and I'm just out. And in terms of direct service with our program, I've been out of that for like 4 or 5 years. But if I see someone who was in the same space as me, a student, it's an instant connection. We know each other. We may not remember each other's names anymore. We're like, school. Yes, yes. And there's a hug or something because it's such a unique space. So, like you said, Natalie, for people to come here, take that, step to go to a country where you do not speak the language is huge. And to know you have an environment that you can go to daily, learn English. If you have a young child, you can also bring that young child for early childhood education at the same time. We try to make sure there are no barriers. And you can come and take that time to learn and grow with us. You don't forget who helped you. Our students know that their teachers are working for free. And so they're the most grateful students you will ever encounter. And that is what I love about being with the organization.
So when people, sorry, I guess I wasn't thinking about, so your teachers are volunteers. So can anybody volunteer to do that? And I know your programs, you have online programs and in-person programs. So
yes. You can volunteer with us with no previous teaching experience. We give you everything you need, curriculum that is almost prescribed. Like, you get to be creative if you want, but we give you all the nuts and bolts. If you are teaching on Wednesday morning, and that's what we ask, you teach one day a week. So if you're the Wednesday morning teacher, you'll see exactly which pages you need to cover. You'll get to see what they covered on Tuesday and what's coming up on Thursday. So you're like writing your niche and you want to make sure you're preparing them. So we try to make sure everything's set up and ready to go. You can even co-teach with someone. We truly have a co-teaching model. It helps students to hear the different ways that we all pronounce words and all of that. And it helps accelerate their learning, we've learned. So yes, teach alone or with a co-teacher.
How long is it's a class? So like if I taught Wednesdays, how long would I teach for?
2 hours. 2-hour classes in person. Online, it's an hour and 45 minutes because, y'all know we can get a lot done online. We might not need to take a break. We can just breeze on through. It's a little bit different for me.
So what I'm curious about is, how did it start? Where someone had a heart to serve.
Yes.
So where did it start?
We were started by a faith community. In this particular area of Dallas, Vickery Meadow, lots of people were placed in this neighborhood, especially through the years. 20 years ago, this is where folks were being placed who might be coming from war-torn countries, different types of turmoil happening in other places. And so this part of Dallas just became the United Nations, and people noticed, hey, there's some folks here. It looks like some of the men are going to work, maybe the wives are home, and it was just observation. People started teaching and connecting with students with English classes in the community room of apartment complexes. That's how it started.
Wow.
And yes, and then a house became available across the street. And so they were able to purchase that house. So we had a house where you had early childhood education programming happening and about a couple of classrooms and maybe an office. And then we grew to 2 buildings and then 3 buildings at that one site. And then that grew to 3 campuses across the city. People saw a need, they responded and figured it out. And so here, talk about pivoting. So they first started with just English classes, right? And then the volunteers noticed that, hey, these few students or these women who were coming to class, they're not coming anymore. Then they learned, oh, this person is now pregnant, or this person, their 3-year-old is on. So they realized people weren't coming because of their young children. So they brought another group of volunteers and said, okay, we're going to teach the classes. Y'all watch the children while we teach. And then it became a project-based learning intergenerational model. We built upon that to really bolster what we're offering children to make sure they're ready for kindergarten and beyond.
So wonderful. Exactly for what you said too, because then the child gets to learn through that as well. And it just really trickles down and makes a difference to that legacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you guys, how did COVID impact everything? And you and I have talked a little bit a while back, but how did that really, what pivot did that force? Because it was campus based
Yes.
and you could not do that any longer. So what were some of the changes that you guys had to make, and how was it, what was that transition like?
It was a slow pivot. Okay. It was slow. And it was really challenging. At the time, I was working in our fundraising department. And so I was able to kind of step back and see all the things that were going on in the program side to try to make things happen. So initially, we offered kind of learning modules online where students could go online and kind of check in with their lesson. And then we asked teachers to do short videos. We did that for a while. And then we became brave enough we started trying out different platforms. We tried different ones. We landed on Zoom, but we tried different iterations at first. And we asked our volunteers to try teaching online. So it's really step by step. We eventually got to the point where now, like I mentioned, Natalie, in response to your question, we have online classes in the morning, in the afternoon, or the evening. So we have all these schedules that can accommodate, people's lives and their work schedules. But it did start very small. Like, okay, I mean, I think having online classes was like a dream somewhere, but I don't think we had a concept of how we're going to make that happen. Like just all the logistics there were just mind blowing, but step by step, our staff figured it out and they made it happen. And we're told we're one of the first, in the area to do it. We went to a big conference. Everybody like, y'all did it first. So we haven't actually been able to fact check it. We didn't post it anywhere, but we believe.
Yeah. So Denise asked, how many people are you serving now? Which is one of the things that I was curious about too. I'm sure that being online probably catapulted some awesome growth for you guys.
It did. It allowed us to reach people in other countries. So during COVID, we had a lot of students to go back to their home countries or take a nice siesta for a while, or, to go somewhere else for 2 or 3 months. They were able to still log on and be in class. It was amazing for us to see where people were pinging from. I mean, it's amazing. So in response to Denise's question, we serve about 800 students. There's a third program that I have not mentioned to you, and that's student services. Our student services program is truly staffed by one amazing individual. She is a licensed master level social worker. She connects with students around any challenges or even growth points that they want to work on. So we want to make sure that needing glasses isn't a challenge. Connecting with a healthcare worker isn't a challenge. If you're working on your resume, you're prepping for an interview. I mean, there's a plethora of things. Some of our students are eligible for different types of aid. We know that those applications can be daunting, other things. We offer citizenship classes as well. So just getting students ready for all of those things, you can make an appointment and, basically get help walking through those processes. And that's how now we're serving like 800 students through one of those 3 different programs. So we're still ramping back up after COVID. We've gotten to 1,100 and 1,300 people within a school year,
Wow. And for free.
Yes. Everything that we provide is free.
Nothing.
Yes.
That was one of the things that I thought, there were really no barriers. You've got childcare for them, and the children are learning English as well. And there were a couple of, I think it was when I was, I spent a little bit of time with Letty, and she showed me a video, and talk about bringing me to tears. I was watching, and it was the parent that was just so, she was so incredibly grateful and appreciative of the fact that she now could understand what the teachers at, her children's teachers were saying. She was disconnected up to a certain point. And then because of this program, she now could understand. It was just such a different thing. And I guess I'm curious, like, there are stories, there's got to be one that stands out to you that really, was a tear that touched you. So I'd love to hear kind of your story, your success
Absolutely.
story.
I would love to share my favorite. I think we all can relate to what you're saying, how intimidating it can be going to the doctor, talking to physicians, as well as connecting and talking to your child's teacher. So one of our students was convinced that her child was talented and gifted. Now, some of us are similarly afflicted, right? Even when it's not true, right? Okay, but anyway, she was convinced, right? And so she also recognized that her child was also on the autism spectrum, right? So a good point for parents. She was not in denial about that. You know, some of us, that can be challenging too, of course. But so that's really what was happening. And she was having trouble, of course, communicating with the teachers, trying to make sure that her child was getting the 504 accommodations that he was eligible for, you know, being on the autism spectrum, but also getting them to test him for a tag program.
Yeah.
So our social worker worked with her, helped her in guiding her toward communication. It probably took about 8 months. He finally was tested, and he tested into the tag program. And so I spoke with her about 8 months ago. And so I first met her again about maybe 3 to 4 years ago. Her child has tested it into the middle school program for tag once again. And she's able to advocate all on her own now. She doesn't need support in doing that. And to be able to advocate for your child and the things that they're eligible for is huge. And knowing that you don't need anyone's help anymore. You know how to advocate. You've done it, but you did it once with support, and it's continuing. And then you feel like there's no ceiling on your child, which for her was part of the reason she made the sacrifice and made the big pivot in her life to be here. So that's huge, to feel like you're doing better for your children, you know, which is what we all dream of.
I love that. What a great story. And it's intimidating to try to, you know, talk about getting needs met in different things when English is your first language, let alone when it's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I take my notes with me into the doctor's office, and I still look back like, oh, look, I missed 3 questions, and those were important. How did I do that? And it's all English, you know, it's just tons of things. It's very challenging.
Oh, wow. So what's next for Literacy Achieves?
You know, you mentioned how do we figure out what the pivot is? And I think it's important to pay attention, to listen, to watch the signs. Of course, as business owners, to follow your intuition. I think the signs are there. It's just a matter of if we are in tune to them. Sometimes we can be so set on the path that we have to follow, but you know, there are tons of options. Typically, we don't just have two. Most of the time, we have lots of other things that can happen if we're open to it. And so for us, like I mentioned before, we, like many organizations, are kind of ramping back up to what's our fullest capacity. We want to be impacting the thousands that we have before. So that's really what's next for us. How do we focus our energies on making sure that people know we're here? We are still available. And that's really what we're working on, and really refining our online class offerings. That's huge for us. And we want to make sure that that online learning environment is, you know, just operating at an optimal place. So that's what we're looking for. That's what our focus is.
That's awesome. How different is it? I mean, the curriculum online and in person, how different is it? Because you can't really, there's a different atmosphere, right?
Yes. Totally different atmosphere. You know, someone told me this week, you know, teaching online was a challenge. Sometimes she just wanted to come through the screen and just like this page right here, you know, but you have to find a way to describe it. You know, it's like, how do I tell you what page when you're having trouble understanding the page number, right? Like,
right.
Wow. I hadn't even thought about it from that perspective.
Yes, it's super visual, and it really is challenging for the teacher to use all of the tools technology wise. Yeah. But our curriculum itself is the same. It is the same whether you're online or in person. And really, if you're able to stretch, online can be easier, But it's really when you have all your tools ready to go, you know, when you can use your whiteboard and flip to this. And then, because sometimes people are asking you for the meaning of a certain word, and a video can explain it better than you can sometimes. And that's why that co-teaching model helps, because somebody can ask you a word in English and you know what that word means, but
Right.
you've never had to explain that to anyone. So you're like, oh, co-teacher, what you got? What do you think? You know, you get passed to your partner. I can't think of an example, you know. So
hopefully everyone can just laugh at themselves, you know, going through those moments anyway. How many people are typically in a class?
online is a smaller environment. We try to keep those classes to 10 to 15 because it can be intimidating with, you know, all of the Hollywood squares happening at once, you know, both ways. But in the classroom, it's really about the capacity of that classroom. Anywhere from 10 to 20 students, you know, it really can range. Our evening classes tend to be very full because lots of people, of course, they have that same schedule where they're working the 9 to 5 and that's when they're available. So those classes can be a lot more full, and it makes it available for people who are working during the day to volunteer with us too. Yeah. So there's a range. And even though we have levels, everyone tests into a certain level. So you kind of have similar abilities, but you could be teaching a room full of students where someone is a brain surgeon, literally in their home country, and then someone who's never entered a classroom at all. And their levels of English proficiency could be on the same place, at the same place. It has happened, and it does happen.
Wow. I knew this time was going to come far too quickly. I knew it. You're so fascinating, and I love what the organization is doing. So anyone out there, literacyachieves.org, go there, check out the organization, support them. This isn't, you know, I guess that we want you to look at it and see what you can do to offer any support. Volunteer as a teacher online, or if you're in the Dallas area, go sign up. They've got an amazing orientation program. But Dionne, it's just been a pleasure having you on the show with us. And kudos for running an organization that is doing what we consider just good business.
Definitely. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Enjoyed it greatly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right.
Welcome back to the Better Your Business Show. We just finished up the first half of the show, and we had Dionne Kirby here with literacyachieves.org, and that was awesome. It was so inspiring. Yeah. And I can see when you were like, I think I'm a volunteer, right? I was sitting here, I'm like, I think I'm a volunteer.
Yeah, I went through the orientation, and I just submitted my volunteer agreement today because they need someone the week of the 19th. And so I was like, yeah, I knew I wanted to do it because I love being in the classroom environment. It's so much fun for me. And it's because of what she said, I know I'm going to get more out of it, right? I know that when you see that light going, that was one of the things that I loved about training, is when I saw the light click, it was just like, they got it. And this is something that to me is like so much more important. If you're in a place, and there's a significant number of refugees here. And, I've had the experience of hearing about, just some of the stories from other organizations, but knowing here's a place that they can go and I can be a part of that. Absolutely. It was just like, sign me up. And now it's just put me in, coach. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Yes. I mean, you're changing their life in a huge, huge way. And so the bond and the fulfillment and the just everything that comes from that is just priceless. So,
And I imagine they're changing yours too.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
you never know, you know, and I love people, right? I really enjoy people. And so I, I was curious, how do I, like she said, how do I get this concept? I know what it means. I know, but knowing what it is doesn't give you necessarily the tools to know how to explain it. And they lay out everything. I mean, it's amazing all of the work that they put into this to make it so easy for the volunteers and the students. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will come back and let you guys know how that turns out as soon as I've done my week there. So yeah,
awesome.
so
It seems like it would have to be very structured and systematized if you don't have to have a teaching background or something, because teaching's not easy. I know when I first got into finance, I'm educating people, right, on how money works, and part of that learning curve for me was I had to learn how to teach people.
Yeah.
I would notice that people that had teaching backgrounds that I worked with before, they'd come in and it would be so easy. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm missing. I'm not teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. So are we ready for our pivot point?
Yes, definitely. Okay. Yes.
We have got another amazing guest for you guys tonight. And this is a business owner. I've known her for a little while, almost a year now. She's got an online jewelry store. She's doing a lot more than that. And we're actually going to bring her in so she can talk a little bit about the business, how it started, her background. But what we'd love to do, there she is, Miss Barbara Currence of BJC Jewelry. How are you tonight, Barbara?
I'm doing well, thank you.
We are so happy to have you. Oh, look, David Chrysler,
hey, Dave.
Amazing business strategist there. We've got Denise O'Malley, who's another just a phenomenal coach. They've got so much experience and wisdom. And so we're glad to be able to bring you on screen with us tonight to talk about your business. And we've already expressed to them some of the challenges that you feel like you're facing. And love that you're willing to be vulnerable and to help people coming up behind you. It's going to make a difference, not just in your business, but in others. And you're going to be able to, get your jewelry out there on plenty of people's wrists and necks and ears, everything. So tell us a little bit about your business, BJC Jewelry.
Well, I started the jewelry business when excuse my voice, for some reason it's raspy today, of all days. But I wanted to do something in the wedding industry. I was doing wedding planning and wedding coordinator, and I wanted to do something different, but still stay in the wedding industry. So I thought about it, prayed about it, and I think I like the jewelry. So we started doing jewelry, doing bracelets and necklaces for brides and other formal events, bridesmaids as gifts. And just to make you feel pretty, just something, sometimes when you get your nails done or your hair done or a nice piece of jewelry, you just feel different, like it's just going to be a great day. So this is kind of how we started off.
I love that. And I guess I never really thought, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, but I can tell when I don't have earrings on, and it's usually going to be hoops, silver hoops, pretty much almost every time. But there is a difference. There is absolutely a difference. I just never thought about it in that respect. So when we talked to you about the business, we were talking, we were asking you some of the challenges that you were facing. And the reality is there are so many business owners that are going to be listening to this as the podcast or watching the replay of this that are going to be facing the same things. You said, just frankly, I'm not sure how to get people to my website. And then once I get them there, I'm not sure how to get them to purchase.
Right. Because we do all the things. We're doing the Instagram, the Facebook posting, and you see a little bit of activity on the website. But again, when they get there, we want to know what's keeping you from actually buying. You spend some time on the website looking at the jewelry, maybe even putting one or two in the cart and taking it out. So what, exactly what is the issue with it? And I try to do the trending, do the research and find out what's trending for the year, the colors for the year. We do all of that, but something's blocking and I'm not sure what it is.
So for our coaches and experts out there, we would love for you to weigh in. If you have questions for Barbara, if you've got advice, we would love to hear it. Anything out there, just let us know.
Barbara, do you run this? Is this what you do full time?
Kind of, sort of.
So what does that mean? Do you have another job, or is that you're just not running it like a business?
I do have another job, but I do try to put as much time in it as I can. You know, I'm okay with staying up late, working all weekends to get it done. So I feel like I'm putting quite a few hours in it to get it done. Yeah, but I do have another job.
So Dave Chrysler says in this space, user-generated content is huge. So I'd love for you to, I think we have the ability to bring Dave to the screen if he wants to be on there. Lovely website. I even bought a bracelet featured on the homepage. Look at Denise. Yeah, you guys, if you want to come into the studio with us, we'd love to have you, Dave, and Denise to come on in with us. And we'll give them a few minutes, but leveraging UGC across all of your social platforms to drive top of funnel awareness activities tends to be impactful. So what is UGC? I'm not even familiar with that acronym.
User-generated content.
Oh,
so yeah.
What he just said.
Sorry, and I'm looking at your Instagram right now. Is what I'm doing. So, oh Denise, I believe your prices are too low. And that was one of the things I know. There she is.
And there she is,
Denise O'Malley. Hey, I'm glad you're here. I feel like today's a good day for you. Even with Dionne here, I was thinking, man, these are some good connections for hopefully you define wellness to help.
Well, I'm actually here as just Denise O'Malley, the business coach. So.
All right. Well, I love it.
So what? Okay. Or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Okay. Awesome. I really did love your website. And going to it just screamed quality. And I apologize if you hear chirping. My smoke alarm is chirping at me, and so I'm hoping we're not. And my phone's overheating, so I don't know if I'm having an electrical issue, but we'll figure this one out. Anyways, there's some things on your website I'd really like to have a conversation with you about that aren't working. And and it's from some of it is aesthetics, some of it are links that are not going where they need to go. But the user experience needs to be super, super seamless in terms of getting them to actually finish purchasing what they're putting into their carts. But I do feel as though your pricing is way too low, especially your under $10 items. I can find those in Denver for $15 or $20.
Oh my.
Yeah. So you might want to reconsider some of it. And that may be why some of the people are backing away, is this kind of like, is this like one of those, really deep discount, cheap places? And when I get it, it's not going to be what I want it to be,
right.
Like it looked. So I would really mirror your pricing with the aesthetics of your website.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does.
That would be the first thing. But in terms of a business, and one of the questions was, how do you get more people to your website? You really need to increase your followers and focus on that. And it could be coming up with an innovative social media campaign where you can do contests, but you don't have enough followers yet. And that is something for what you're doing. You need to drive people there, because I don't know if you're doing this or not, my side gig is over in the wedding business. I'm a wedding officiant.
Awesome.
But if you're at all participating on any of the Facebook groups for brides, and I can tell you there's a million of them, and I think you probably know that as well. There's so many, but you can engage with them. But if you can answer questions. They don't like you being really salesy, but if somebody asks them a question, you can certainly jump in. And if you're linking them over to your Facebook page, you need to show more followers than what you've got. And that Facebook page really has to be really engaging, because they will go over there. They're hurting for help and information on things like this and ideas.
Denise, we're looking out for you too.
Yeah, send positive thoughts my way, please. I just love what you're doing, but Shanna and Natalie, either one of them can give you my contact information, and I would love to give you some free advice on some of the things I found on your website that I think that with just a teeny tiny amount of effort, we're not talking major overhaul, just some very, very simple things that, because if the consumer goes to your website and they have any frustration whatsoever, or if the link is broken or something's not sounding right, as my smoke alarm goes off, they're going to leave.
Right.
They're not going to trust you as being the professional that you are.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was good.
And we've got Carlton Hoskins, CEO of I Do Systems. He's also running the back end for us. He should have just popped in to say something, join the conversation, but he said, "Where's your audience hanging out?" And then he's like short form videos on TikTok using influencers, doing some social media listening. So there's some other tactics. Also, Dave Chrysler, who said he isn't able to jump on with us tonight, but he sent an email, and I'll forward it to you, Barbara, so that you have it. But he said, if this were my business, I would be creating new content myself, as well as trying to source user-generated content, showcasing your products. My main focus with these content pieces would be to reinforce the content that you've already created and posted on Facebook, but I would go heavy into TikTok and Instagram. So those are excellent suggestions as well.
Thank you. Excuse me, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Instagram, and I kind of want to just ditto on what Denise said a little bit, because if I was looking at that jewelry, I'm going to look at those prices and think I'm going to be able to wear this once. So this is going to be something that I'll buy if I'm going to go somewhere, is what I would think with those prices. It's probably going to tarnish or whatever. So that's the first thing I would do, definitely with Denise. And secondly, being max out your followers, because I'm on your Instagram, you have 29 followers. You're and I don't know if you have your Facebook, your minimum on, or your max followers on Facebook friends is 5,000. That's not including people who are following you with the reels and stuff like that too. So that would definitely, I would spend time building that. And if people are popping up saying you might know somebody, I would just start friending people personally. You're not looking to pitch them, right? You're just kind of building your community. So as long as you're not pitching them, I wouldn't feel bad about that. But I do want to go back to, because the other thing I was looking at is how consistently you were posting. And I noticed you had kind of a 6-week lull in there and that you aren't doing this full time. So I was wondering if you're being consistent, like with your schedule and how you're running things, or is it kind of like, if I feel like doing it? Because, it's when you're running a business and working a job, it can be exhausting.
It can be. And I've kind of, I guess, gotten better with that. I did have a dip in there where it was a kind of a busy season and other things were going on. So I focused my attention on those things. But then I got back to posting, and I'm trying to do it maybe on weekends or Fridays or Thursday evenings or when my downtime is, and post for the whole month. So that way I'll be, I'll have it done. I'll have the posting done. And so if I get a busy time, I don't have to worry about it as much. I know the posts are out there. So I'm kind of refocusing and looking at that again. Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Denise is back.
I'm back.
Safely back.
Yeah. And Barbara, first of all, kudos on your jewelry shop. I mean, just taking the dive into entrepreneurship is huge. And so, but one thing we all know, there's nothing easy about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about it, right? We just have to we kind of jump out of a plane without a parachute, and then we think about, oh, wait a minute, did I pack it right? You know.
Right.
But one of the things that I've found very common to the issue that you're speaking to, attracting your audience and then converting them. One of the keys to that is it precedes the marketing strategies. You know, it even goes back to where Denise was talking about pricing models. So we're talking about what you've proven is that there's a market that will buy. So one thing for sure, you know, there's a market there. So you have a product and you're serving someone's need, whatever that is, right?
Right.
Now what you want to do is identify who that person is very clearly, right? Are they between the age of 30 and 40? Are they single, being married, like all the way down the niche rabbit hole? So I always say do a value proposition canvas. Understand who they are, what their job list is, understand what their pains are, understand what the gain is if the pain is solved. And once you solve that, then you can align your messaging so perfect with them that you can't miss them. And they become low-hanging fruit to you. It's almost like as soon as you say the right words, they immediately buy from you. But we've spent 6 years mumbling through words to educate people. And it took this education to say, wait a minute, if we just say it the right way, then they understand it. So then it changes to what Denise was saying. It changes the journey through your webpage, right? Because they're not just going to Cartier to buy, because they know who Cartier is.
Right.
What they don't know is they don't know who BJC is.
Right.
They don't know if you're using organic materials. They don't know if you're using jade. They don't know if you're using plastic or you're wrapping it with straw. Like, they have no clue. They don't know your backstory. They don't know what your why, and they don't know if you even like them. Right? So your audience isn't going to buy from you if you don't like them, but they don't know if they like you because you haven't told them who you are. So there's a disconnect. It's just like, I'm just trying to sell you a bottle of water because you're thirsty. Next. And that doesn't work. People buy because they know, like, and trust you, right? We still go to the same stores and we'll drive out of our way because we know, like, and trust that particular service provider, right? Not just that they have the best hamburger in town, but we went in there and we had a great experience. You can give me the best hamburger and a bad experience, and I don't want that burger no more.
That's true.
So that's the way they're looking at that. And then you can get.
I'm gonna give them one more time. I'm gonna try one more time if the burger was real good. But we are running out of time, and I do want to give Denise another opportunity, because when Denise said I'm a wedding officiant, what came to mind is partnering with people like Denise in some way, because they are in front of your target audience, right? So I think about you can get in front of them to say, hey, I've got these amazing products. If you've got brides coming in, which you do, can you talk to them about my bridal party gifts or my, whatever specials that you have? Working out some sort of strategic partnership with people like Denise would be amazing. But because we've only got, oh goodness. Yeah. I love everything that's coming in. This is so beneficial, and this is what we were hoping for. But Denise and Dave and Carlton, is there one piece of advice that you can give Barbara, just some practical step that she can take away right now before we close out this segment?
I'll jump in because it's not chirping at the moment. So hopefully, Barbara, one piece of advice. You already know this because you are a wedding coordinator. It's not the officiants that you want to partner with. The people with all the power are the wedding coordinators. And so I would focus less on that in terms of, so it doesn't look like you're in competition on it, on your website, but partnering with the wedding planners out there, the coordinators, because they are in the position and there's ways to do it. And I've got some ideas for you, and you're going to think, what are you talking about Tupperware with me? I'm not, but it's going to be a lot of the same concept. It's a way to sell a lot of jewelry really fast. We're going to talk about it one-on-one.
Okay, thank you.
This would be a perfect product to create wedding party bundles. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's from Dave Chrysler.
Yeah, and my last piece of the advice is do a value proposition canvas. If you haven't done one, I'll be happy to. We could share it. Natalie, we can share her a value proposition canvas template, so you could just do that thing. It takes you about 6 minutes, 7 minutes to fill it in.
Okay.
and it'll give you a lot of information and the messaging to help you to do the things that they're talking about, connecting with relationships, building your influencers, messaging and marketing the right way, the right tone, the right branding, the right everything. It begins with understanding exactly who they are.
Who they are. This sounds great.
Perfect.
I love the ideas.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming on with us. It takes a lot of courage to come on and say, hey, I know I've got something, but I don't know what's not working. Help me. And it takes so much courage to do that. And so I want to thank you so much for being here with us and being willing to be vulnerable, stay consistent, fail forward as fast as you can. Dave Chrysler says, and I say failure is not required. But Dave and I can argue about that terminology another time. But yes,
I appreciate the
agree.
opportunity.
I think it's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on with us.
No problem.
Bye, Denise.
Bye.
That was awesome. Okay.
That was great. That was a lot of fun. Thank you,
Wow.
Dave and Denise and Carlton for jumping on. That was a lot of fun.
I love that for her.
And what a great connection with her and Denise, which is like the point, the point of it all.
Well, and she got a sale.
And she got a sale. What a great day. This is awesome.
It seems like that's a win all around.
It is.
But yeah, guess what?
See, and it's the first day we pivoted, people. Let that be your feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want sales? Come on the show. No. Let me stop. I mean, maybe. But I know we've only got a few minutes, but I do not want us to leave without going through our It's Your Boy Fitzroy segment, because he's got another banger of a website. So
it is none other than your boy Fitzroy, and I have a banger of a website that's going to help you better your business. The website is jitter.video. This site allows you to make awesome looking animated content, which is great for promotional campaigns or just everyday social media posts. Jitter allows you to create these awesome animations right in your browser. And if you're not the most creative color in the crayon box, Jitter does have a bunch of templates to get you started, so you don't have to rock your brain about what you want to do. The cool thing about the site is that it is free, though it does have a paid account if you want additional features. But the best part about the site is that if you're a student or educator, you get the paid pro account for free. The best number in the world, free 99. So check out the website, and don't forget, don't get beat up out there, you guys.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Don't be a jabroni.
Don't be a jabroni.
Oh, this was so amazing. And I know we've got like a couple of grants that I can run through, and you've got, do you have a quick money minute, or we want to
We can skip my money minute. We'll use it next week.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Pull up the grants so that I can look at those. There's one that, free money alert, dollar bill, y'all. Okay. 10,000 euros. So we went international because we do have a global audience. Top 10% shared globally on Spotify. So anyone in Ireland, female business owners, Visa is empowering women across the Republic of Ireland to grow their businesses. They're offering 10,000 euro grants, as well as professional coaching for a year. I love that because they're giving you money and they're giving you education, and you need both of those as a business owner. So that's amazing. July 21st. So you've got a little bit of time. We'll remind you of this closer to that deadline, but then there's the coalition to back Black businesses, multi-year initiative by some huge companies. I was so impressed with, I think it was Shopify. American Express, a few other companies, $5,000 grants for Black business owners. You have to have 3 to 20 employees, so it's still small business. Go to webackblackbusinesses.com. And then the last grant that we have for you is a $10,000 grant. It's together with the NBA, WNBA, and NBA G League, along with LegalZoom. They're supporting small businesses with $6 million in grants. So $3 million in grants, $3 million in services. And the grants are going to be $10,000 and up to $500 worth of LegalZoom products and services. And it looked like, from what I could see, the end of the WNBA season, which I looked up, I think it's in September. So it's May 18th through September something. So you've got a little bit of time for that, but go ahead and go to LegalZoom.com, Fast Break for Small Business, and apply for that grant. If you qualify, we'd love for you to get it. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Now I was saying, let us know if you get one.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Opportunities every week, but you got to take the action behind it, right?
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, what a great show tonight. It was awesome. Just the new strategy, talking about pivoting, having Dave and Denise and Carlton jump in with us, and Dionne and Literacy Achieves and all that they're doing. And then, being able to talk to Barbara about that whole, just everything with her and Denise was awesome. I mean, it was just a really great show. It's super exciting. As we're growing in life, our business is going to go through different stages, right? We're babies and teenagers and we become adults. Our businesses go through those stages as well. And as long as we know what stage our business is in, then we can be proactive with the challenges that will come with the season that we're in. If you go to pillar5.com, you can take your free assessment and you'll know what season you're in, and you'll know what challenges to anticipate moving forward. So hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show as well. We love ya. It was a great time. We'll see you next week. I will be doing our giveaway next week. It's going to be for the Daddy-Os for Father's Day, so we can celebrate all the wonderful fathers. And we just appreciate you guys so much. So have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts